What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a rambly type video. It's not going to be strictly like cubing advice related, kind of like previous videos of mine. They've been a bit more either talking about just stuff outside of cubing or skits or, and that's kind of what I've been liking a bit recently. I'll bring back the informational content shortly, at least for YouTube. The newsletter will always be strictly, cubing improvement type stuff. I don't want to ever really stray from that. But something I do want to talk about today, my chair is always squeaky as ever-loving heck, and that is not going to change. What I want to talk about today is some sort of stuff I've been seeing recently with like elitism and like stuff I've seen in CF, and it just kind of got my mind jogging. And this is something I've told a few people for a while. I actually told this to Jack Kai very early on when he started his independent coaching service. And basically the main thing I told him was, don't underestimate the power of putting forward free content that helps people get better. Because if you do that and people benefit from your free content, they will want to pay you to coach them. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? But I'm going to be honest, like I've looked into all of the Cubicle Academy coaches, and pretty much none of them do that. There's like Brody is like the only one that I can really think of. I might be missing someone. I think Ariane has some decent big cube videos as well. But like other than that, like pretty much none of them put forward free content that like actually, gives their potential customers an idea that like, oh, maybe this guy can help me. Now, granted, maybe that doesn't matter if they're like promoting themselves through the Cubicle. That's certainly a possibility because, the Cubicle is obviously a very, very big website. A lot of people visit it on a very regular basis. And obviously if you're a fast cuber, like all of these people, like they're very well known for like certain records or like placements at big competitions. And like that helps, that does help you. And like, I think that did help me early on when I was, putting my coaching services forward back in like, the middle of 2018 was when I started, and I did it like pretty much till the end of 2019. And that's when I kind of switched to info products. But that's kind of by the by. But like bottom line, during that whole time, I was always very adamant about putting forward free content that helped people. And I think that is why my coaching business was as successful as it was. Because, my customers, like obviously I'm fast and like I've gotten records and things like that. But they also have, the added effect of knowing like, okay, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. And I did discuss this, I want to say at like the end of 2019, I released an email talking about kind of like natural cubers versus non-natural cubers. And basically I'm of the belief that there are cubers out there, who are very, very good, some that are actually better than me, 3x3 and probably some other events. But they're also very naturally talented and they don't really know why they're good. They're just kind of like a natural, something of like a savant almost. Whereas someone like me, like I might have a bit of that, maybe. But to be honest, I don't think I'm, at least when it comes to 3x3, I really don't think I'm that much of a natural, and I have had to kind of analyze myself deeply and even have outsider perspectives in order to kind of guide how I should get better. One of the main ones I remember was Mikhail Zhavuski. He basically pointed out like, yo, Jay, your lefty turning sucks. Like, you need to work on it. And I did. And like a few months later, I immediately was averaging better. And I think shortly after that, I got my first sub-7 official 3x3 average. So, and that was an outsider perspective. And then on top of that, because I've had to coach so many people, like I'd say it has to be a triple-digit number now. Definitely triple-digit if we're counting like the cubing info product course stuff. Because I've had to actually like get into the trenches and actually help people and actually get results. Because if I don't, like my business is going to die and people are going to find out very quickly that I'm not getting people results if I'm not. That whole process has kind of taught me how to, I guess, like understand what's actually going on. I'm kind of going off a bit of a tangent. Basically, the main point I want to make, the number one thing that these coaches are like, pardon my French, but the number one reason I think they're fucking up is because they're not putting forward free content that helps people. Like, being good at cubing and being a notable cuber is only going to take you so far. And if you don't have free content that, like, gives people an idea that you actually know what you're talking about and you can actually help people, that's going to cost you customers. Maybe you can get customers without it, and maybe you're a little bit complacent and don't really want to put in the work, but I promise you, if you put forward free content you will get more customers. You absolutely will get more customers. You will not get less customers from doing that. And you're not going to get people that, I think some people get the idea like, oh, if I put forward free content, people aren't going to want to pay for the, you know, my secrets. And it's like, no, dude, they're not paying for like the information. The information is all out there. Everything like 95% of what I teach in Speedcubing Solution and 95% of what I'm going to teach in Speedcubing Solution Pro when it comes out is already being put out there either in my YouTube videos or in my emails. Like, it's not about that. What you're bringing to the table is structure. What you're bringing to the table is being like, okay, here's where you're at, here's what you're good at, here's where there's clear room to improve, and here's areas of yourself that I think if you work on will have the highest return on investment if you start working on them now. What you're giving them is structure. You're not giving them your secrets. Like, you know, no offense to like all you Cubicle Academy coaches or anyone else who's a coach, but like you probably have no secrets. Honestly, you don't. So get over yourself, put forward some free content, and you'll get more customers. So that's the first thing I wanted to kind of get across. I feel like I went off on kind of a tangent where I was basically just like stroking my own dick for like 2 minutes, so I'm sorry about that. Didn't mean to. A couple other things I want to talk about that are kind of cubing business related that have been floating around my head. The first one is a reconstruction service. So one thing I started doing like kind of early-ish on into my coaching around like, I think it was February 2019, was I stopped reconstructing solves for people, because what was happening is I would spend like an hour or 2 hours like, you know, doing my analysis and making sure like I'm putting my best foot forward with the advice I'm recommending on like each case and like stuff like that. But depending on like the quality of the video and things like that, like sometimes it would take me like twice as long to reconstruct the solves. But that's not, it's like a double-edged sword. Like if you offer reconstructing people's solves on top of like your analysis and your improvement plans and whatever, like you could end up giving yourself a lot more work. But on the flip side, I think there is a very large number of cubers who don't want to reconstruct their own solves. And it is a skill that you do have to develop. And, you know, some cubers, they want to get coaching very early on. And they're not like wrong for wanting to get coaching if they average like 30 or 20. I actually think it's a very smart thing to do, if anything. But they probably just don't have the skill of being able to reconstruct their own solves, which again is not a problem. So that's where people who, you know, reconstruct like high-level solves on a regular basis could come in. You could offer a reconstruction service, and that could help bridge the gap between people who want to get coached but don't know how to reconstruct their solves, and people who want to coach people but don't want to reconstruct their solves for them. You could absolutely, you know, money is like a river. It flows, and if you just put yourself where the money is flowing, you will get wet. And don't interpret that the wrong way. Get your mind out of the gutter, kids. But point being, you could absolutely be something of like a middleman there, and you could absolutely make money from it if you wanted to. It would be as easy as probably like setting up a website, you know, setting up some forms, you know, like submit the video file, give me the scrambles, or maybe even don't give me the scrambles, because you can also generate scrambles in like C if you just like click the stickers and stuff. And I've done that a few times when I've either reconstructed my own solves and I've misscrambled, or I've reconstructed someone else's for some reason. But yeah, that's another idea that I think that's something that's missing in the market that could absolutely be filled. And I know there are people out there who could fill it. I'm not going to name names. You know who you are. You know who you are. You know. And then the last thing I want to talk about that's a little bit related to that is GAN Smart Cubes. So until this like reconstruction service exists, which I think is kind of like a no-brainer from a business standpoint, and obviously it costs money, but like I've never tried a GAN Smart Cube or any other type of like Geica Smart Cube. I believe some of them can like reconstruct your solves to an extent, but if you're someone that wants to get coaching and you're really, really struggling to learn to reconstruct your own solves, and you might be at a skill level where like you're doing so much like intuitive stuff and you're doing so many like steps to solve each case that you might want to invest in like a GAN Smart Cube that reconstructs your solves. And it's not going to give you like the perfect reconstruction in terms of like every specific rotation and move you did. And if you're like submitting, you know, if you're submitting your solves with like a video and like that reconstruction, if the video is crap, then like you know, the reconstruction isn't going to change the fact that the video sucks, because a video is very necessary to analyze your finger tricks. But that's another thing that I think could just could be a part of the market. And in general, I think if, you know, smart cubes become like, you know, actually smart, right now they're kind of dumb, but if they become smart, that could also help bridge the gap between people who want to get coaching but can't reconstruct their solves, and through no real fault of their own, and people who want to coach people but don't want to reconstruct their solves, because you don't know if you're going to get like the perfect over-the-shoulder angle with good lighting, or if you're going to get like some kid's mom like in a dark room like holding a camera like with a shaky hand. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get. And I just think that could be a really cool thing. But until then, a reconstruction service I think would be the most like practical solution. I'm not going to start one. I don't really want to spend time doing that. But I know plenty of people who already do it for free, and, you know, you could charge money for it. You absolutely could, and you shouldn't feel bad about it either. Like, you're providing a service. You are saving someone the time of having to reconstruct their own soul for the purpose of getting coaching. Like, people like spending money if it saves them time, and that's not like a bad thing. I think in general, people just have like a total fucking boomer attitude when it comes to money. Like, money is not evil, and like, you know, putting forward services like for money is not inherently scummy. So, you know, boomers BTFO. You can look up what that stands for. Anyways, guys, that's just some off-the-cuff thoughts on like cubing business stuff. So just to recap, if you're a coach and you're not putting forward free content that helps people, you're fucking up and you are not maximizing how many customers you could get. Reconstruction services could absolutely be a thing, and if you're good at reconstructing and you already like doing it for free, why not give it a try, you know? Yeah, people are gonna like, you know, complain like, oh, you're money hungry. Like, don't worry about them. Fuck them. Who cares? And if smart cubes actually become smart, that could be another thing that, you know, that it'll eventually put the reconstruction people out of business if they get smart. But I don't think they're gonna get smart very quickly, because GAN loves to fucking, you know, they do like slow little incremental improvements with their cubes, and I have no reason to believe that they're not going to do the same thing with smart cubes. Maybe another company will have a different, you know, business philosophy and actually put their best foot forward and bring their best technology forward immediately, instead of doing the, you know, incremental improvements to maximize the profits. But that's yet to be determined. Anyways, off the cuff thoughts. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Boop.